So, on the subject of race and coronavirus, we got to talk about the fact that, look, whether it's directly intentional or sort of backhandedly intentional, Stephen Miller is still high in power, right? Still definitely in Donald Trump's ear. Stephen Miller is one of the most aggressive and evil white nationalists to be right next to the president, like that we've ever had, right? And so letting COVID-19 run through the population, look, they had months to stop this from happening. But, if you're thinking about things in terms of numbers, and you're one of those white nationalists who's worried about, the great replacement, how white folks are being replaced by brown folks and, the browning of America, as if that was A, bad thing, or B, something that is to be fought against, right? If you believe in that, you would see this as an opportunity. And if you're the one that has the shield, right? And there's a volley of arrows coming, what you would do is you would stand in front of the people without a shield and block the incoming volley of arrows. And if you stood there and did not do that, you would be responsible for the death of anyone who died because you did not do when you should have done. And that's what's happening, right? As much as you all know that I don't like to talk about Donald Trump that much because there's just so many people who talk about him. But this right here shows you just where his head is, right? Because he knew about this when it was happening in China. I was able to figure out that it was going to come our way and it was going to hit us really hard. And then it was going to hit places like New York and, black neighborhoods all around the country and minority neighborhoods, poor areas. It was going to hit us the hardest. That's obvious. You could just look at it and see, if you didn't, of course, disbelieve that it was coming, right? If you believed that it was just some sort of Chinese hoax to quote another thing that this president has said, right? 45 basically said it wasn't going to happen here and it would be fine. And then it would be miraculously disappear by April. Hello, it's April. It's still fucking here, killing off like 700 people a day in New York City, right? So what the fuck were you talking about, right? But anyway, if you were him and you wanted to kill off, say, a bunch of migrants, a bunch of undocumented people that you currently had locked up in detention centers, if you wanted to kill them and you didn't have any Zyklon B laying around, what would you do? You would just let COVID-19 run roughshod through those detention centers. And that is happening right now. And we are not getting any single number from that. We're not getting any numbers, right? Those are not being included in the numbers that I read you earlier. I'm sure they're not. I'm absolutely certain that they're not. I'm also sure that people aren't reporting all their deaths from countries all around the world, especially the authoritarian ones, right? But just back to the detention centers, the gradual moves towards fascism, right? Everything's just been juiced because now they have a way of killing off people without directly killing them off. They couldn't have asked for a better turn, with the exception of doing it yourself. You couldn't have gotten luckier if you're a Stephen Miller type who is trying to kill off brown people. And we know that they are. We know that that's part of the plan. And we have stopped screaming about the children and the people in those detention centers. As a culture, at first it was a terrible shock. And then it was like, this is outrageous. The first travel bans, people were at the airports. And it was protest after protest. And now, we have sort of capitulated, right? That is how fascism ascends, historically speaking. It's one shock after another, and you take each blow